Welcome in, welcome in. Oh Lord. Oh y'all, forgive me. I'm trying to give a coffee. My second cup of decaffeinated coffee. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As you can see, the title. Walk away. When you can walk away. As you can see, the name of the title. Okay, so let's go on and get straight on into it. Basically, this title can mean several things when you can walk away. Meaning that you can walk away from jobs, when you can walk away from relationships, when you can walk away from friendships, when you can just walk away just to get away. If you feel like that you need to be at peace and you know that your peace means more to you than any bull crap it is in the world. I know sometimes situations seem hard for us to walk away. Now this video ain't speaking. You just have to know the story to catch up on it. Basically, when you can walk away, thank you. When you can walk away, if you notice that, I'm trying to get like the words out. Thank you, y'all. Thank you for coming in. If you notice that you can put up with something so long till it kind of hurts you to walk away, and then I know we got a tendency of worrying about what that person is gonna say, how that person gonna take it. And you got a tendency of people gonna point fingers and tell lies. You got it. Oh, and then you got some people that is so happy for a breakup. You got some people that is just so happy. I don't know. It's just like I said all the time. Betty Wright said it the best. When you in a relationship, that's why I said there's several things that this title can mean. When you're in a relationship and they know that you and your mate is having problems, and they know you and your mate is on the urge of breaking up, or they want to know what did they say, how did it go, I can't even think of it right now because y'all know it's kind of like still kind of late anyway. And they just be so, and then they just be so happy. And time you end up leaving, or your mate end up leaving you, oh, they just be like, oh, so happy for you. They want to show they concern. But when you and that mate get back together, they got all kinds of questions. Oh, well, what you take them back for? What you take that one back for? Why you do that? Why you do that? They got all kinds. So that's why I say, yeah. And you got some that will get you in trouble. You got some mates that'll get you in trouble. Now, basically, I'm finna share a little story with y'all. So that's why I said when you can walk away. Now, the only way, because basically this little story right here is about me. It's gonna be one or two stories, so y'all just come on in, say what you want to say. One of them was this first one. Y'all gotta give me a little sip of coffee again. I'm trying my best to stay woke. I'm trying my best to stay. Thank you. I'm trying my best to stay woke for a reason. I never will forget. I was working this job, and I was working this job. Honestly, I was grown. I had just got my GED. As you know, I didn't get a high school diploma. We'll get off into that. And I was so worried about the high school diploma because I was supposed to have came out in 93. But honestly, if I had stayed on in school, I would have came out in 94. So I was going to school to get. I was going to school, and went to get my GED. Oh my goodness, that GED, baby. I was so upset because I had got the GED in 1999. Man, I was so upset. I didn't know what in the world to do because I was just like, I felt like that the GED wasn't going to go far. But I learned through my sister that the GED did go far. So I started going to school for auto body repair because I always felt like, okay, well, you know what, if I ever got put on the side of the road or something like that, I'd make, which I already knew how to work on cars, because my first trade was brick mason. Then my second trade was culinary arts. Me and culinary arts didn't get along too good. Then my major second trade was the auto body repair because I had a friend that was letting me work in his body shop. He had just basically, y'all don't say names. He had basically just got out of prison, and he had this body shop that he had, and his mama was I think she was a mental health worker or something like that. I think she was a social worker. And so his wife, she worked at the grocery store. So he needed like 2 females to work in his shop as doing the booking and getting appointments. So in order for me to be able to work in his shop, which I was already in school because me and him both was in the auto body repair together. So he asked me about working in there. But anyway, when I decided to go ahead and do that, the GED, when I got that, I had the GED in 1999. Boy, I'm telling y'all, I was so mad. I was so freaking mad. Because before I got the GED, I was end up taking the same classes over and over again until one of the ladies from the college had called my parents and told my parents not to drop me off at the regular school, to drop me off at the college because I was taking double classes over again. That's just how bad I wanted my education. I know what I know better for. So the one time I got that GED, my sister was like, it's a high school diploma. She said, all it is just equivalent or something she was telling me. I can't even remember words right now. And she was like, girl, you better go on and make the best of that. She was like, it's a lot of folks. And I was like, well, a GED. Because I guess I was at the point where I wanted to be like, say high school diploma or something, but it didn't. But after I had, y'all excuse me, because y'all know when I told y'all when I make them faces like that, I don't be trying to make them faces at y'all to just be these chronic back pains. It's no joke. And lately, if y'all been watching me, y'all know that neuropathy is about to drive me up to here. That neuropathy. And I do the good, because I was almost about to fall asleep in the pool. I was just like, it's doing you know what, I actually do walk, but I do the pool therapy more. That coffee is too hot. But anyway, the car that I had bought, this car from this lady, right? How about this? The lady was supposed to have came up with the title. She never did come up with the title. I don't know what made me buy that kind of car. Don't ask me. I don't know. Just trying to get around and go where I need to get to. I ended up buying that car. The only way I was able to sell that car was I had to have a mechanic that know what he was doing to sell that car, which I did, because she couldn't come up with the title. So the job that I was on, which was a restaurant job, Y'all know we talk about random stuff on here, so if you come in here, that's, I appreciate it, because y'all know we just talk about any and everything, life experience and all. Um, we carry on a lot of foolishness in it anyhow. Today is just one of these, well, it's been like this for the last 2 weeks, the back pains and these, what you call it? Whatever you call these back pains with this stuff that's like driving me crazy. But anyway, the job that I started working, which remind you, I was working 2 jobs and I was going to school, 2. So the other job, I had ended up quitting the other job because it seemed like it was getting too much stress on me. Both jobs, now remind you, both jobs was part-time. But this one particular job that I had took, which working in a restaurant as a waitress and serving, prepping the food and serving the food and stuff like that. My supervisor, I never knew how to quit a job. So at that time, I'm just say my friend, I'm just say that friend, but it was, if you watch, we was living together, unexpectedly living together. Because if it left up to me, it was already H-no that you couldn't stay with me. H-no. I wouldn't let nobody. It was already left up to me. Now, I was on what they call low income at that time. So that's why I said, yes, if y'all been afraid, if y'all don't be afraid to say it. Y'all know my best friend, she did a video, she did a live about it. She did a live about it back here in June. About it. Once you can get off, whatever. So yeah, it was in June. I think it was in June of last year. Might have been June before then. But anyway, that job that I was on, the supervisor kept making me mad. I'm talking about the supervisor would do all kinds of stuff, and now remind you that the supervisor was paying us straight out cash. I didn't know how to leave a job. So I called to the house and I say, call up here and act like it's some emergency so I can just walk away. He was like, just leave. Just leave. I was like, man, just call up here and say you need to speak to me. I said, and if they don't get me to the phone, just tell them that I need to leave because I got an emergency. You don't say nothing about no family. Just say that you need me home because it's an emergency. So he started telling me, man, if you don't walk off that place and all this and stuff, I was like, man, I don't know how to do it. So finally, I got the gut. I mean, I tell y'all, it was so hard, man, when I tell you, I finally got, but I think he ended up calling after I had left. My supervisor that I had at the time, I always was making fun of people. Even the people that came in and bought the place. And it was this, like, 2 or 3 guys and females that came in, but they didn't come together. They had a job. They was working at, one of the guys was working at some kind of plant he was working at. But he drove up. I didn't ever really know the car until I seen it parked out there in the front. He drove a brown car, like one of them older cars that had the rims and had the stuff, whatever you call it, is on them cars. Y'all know I can't even think straight right now, but he had one of those kind of cars. So when he came in there, he bought the plate. The plate was like $8. And depending on what you ordered, the drink didn't come with it. The drink would be like an extra $1 or something. So when me and the other lady, we waited on him. When we waited on him, the supervisor would come and pay it, come right there by us. And I'm knowing that the people hearing what you saying. Now, this is your restaurant, and this is you the owner of this restaurant. And he was like, man, he come down here, he buy the eats. He was like, man, look at that car he driving. He was like, man, I'm tired of him. He was, he was saying all kinds of crazy stuff about, like, man, he come down here, he got this good blank job, and he come down here and buy these food And then, sometimes the guy would sit in there and eat the food. Then, with the pay that he was paying us, I'm going to tell y'all, trust me, the pay that he was paying us, I'm going to put it like this, it was a job. So I know sometimes we feel like that our pay ain't enough, but it was a job. So it wasn't even a good, honestly, it wasn't even minimum wage what we was getting paid. At that time, if back then, I want to say it was like it was in the middle 90s, almost till, the middle 90s. So the minimum wage back then, I don't forgot what it was, but we weren't even making a good $6. We weren't even making I think it was like $5 or something, but he was really paying, my supervisor was paying us under minimum wage. But when we got our check, which was when he paid us cash, it looked good enough to keep the bills flowing. It could look good enough to keep us to do what we need, pretty much like Ian Meeks. When I tell y'all, I walked off that job. I told him, I didn't know what to say to him. Cause he would always say little slick stuff, and then he would always talk about anybody and everybody, including employees, including us, the ones that you got working there. When I tell y'all, I walked out that door. I thought I was gonna leave out that back door, but I left out the front door. When I left out that front door, I told him, I said, I got to go. I said, I'll call you if I decide to come back. I said, but I'm gone. I took my apron off, hung my apron up, left out that door. Now, y'all, the only thing I remember doing, because I was like, knowing that I was in school for auto body repair, knowing that my instructor was a lady, she had just told me that I had to buy this $150 book. I didn't want to buy that $150 book because I'm already, like I said, I already know how to work with stuff with hands on. But she taught us mainly hands on too. I was so mad because that book was almost that $200 book. It was a $150 book. Out of that $150 book, we didn't study number 1 chapter, and it was a chapter on safety. Boy, I could have just knocked her upside the head. I promise you, I could have just knocked her out. But when I walked out that door, y'all, I was down the street. I promise you, I don't even think I had got a good piece away from that job. And the first thing I said, I should have been looking up, but I didn't. That's why I should have been looking up. I said, Lord, I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I said, but I ain't got to worry about no food because I can go to my parents' house and get food. I was like, if I got to have tissue or soap, I was like, I can always go to my parents' house and tell my parents that I, call it. If I got to have sugar, eggs, or butter or something, I can always tell my parents. That's the first thing I was saying. Then, no, that was the second thing I was saying. But the first thing that I said, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, as you know, I was in the apartment. I was like, Lord, I'm in this apartment. And I was like, the job that he was working, I think the day that I walked off, he had just got fired. They had fired him from his job. And I didn't know that they had fired him because he didn't want to tell me that he had got fired. So I had found out through somebody else. And I'm just like, I just walked off this job. And then the first thing that came to my mind was, you know what, Lord, I'm just putting this in your hand, Lord. You know what? I don't know what you got in store for me, but whatever you got in store for me, Jesus, I'm walking off. Lord, I'm walking out. I'm stepping out on faith. My faith is bigger than my fears right now, Lord, because you the only somebody that can help me right about now. You know, when I tell y'all, I mean, as I was talking, walking, and I know people walking down the street looking at me like, is she crazy? Because honestly, I was talking to myself, but I was talking to the Lord. But I wasn't like just showing. You know how sometimes you be talking to yourself and people looking at you like, wait a minute, what's wrong? But I was really just like, and I did, and honestly, that's all I remember saying. Lord, you know what, Lord? It's in your hands, Lord. I'm in your care, Lord. Just cover me in the name of your blood, Jesus. Just cover me. That's all I remember saying. And I was just like, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. Lord, I wouldn't even know that. That's the good thing about it. I wouldn't know that. It was my school that I had a scholarship, but on top of that scholarship, I had more stuff. Y'all, when I tell y'all, let me tell y'all something. I was so worried. My water bill came. What? But my water bill was like, my water bill was so high. I was like this. And you know how sometimes you have to try to laugh to keep from crying. I opened up that bill. I looked. Now, I was frustrated, but I wasn't frustrated. But it just seemed like honestly, when I said, I was worried, for real. I was worried. I'm not going to lie and say that I wasn't. But once I said, Lord, I'm putting it in your hands and I'm leaving it at your footstep, I got cool, calm, and collected with myself as walking off from that job. I got real cool, calm, and collected. But then at the same time, it looked like my bills were steady flowing. So I had more income, another income that I didn't mess with from my other job that I had just got paid from. Remember the job that I told y'all that I had? The other job, it was 2 part-times. I had another job. That job, something had happened to that job where they had to back pay us. So that money that they had gave us, well, I ain't gonna say gave us, but issued us a check out, happened, I had something to fall back on, which was I was no fool. I knew to put that money in the bank. Now, I don't typically like to put money in the bank. I'm not a bank person. I'm really not a bank person. No offense to no banks, but I'm not a bank person at all. And then they kept saying something about that we had to have a card. I didn't do unemployment. I don't have nothing against unemployment. I just don't believe in unemployment. Now, each to their own. Now, I know it may be a time that I might have to do it. Not saying that because not saying that I'm better than nobody else. Because it may be a time that I may have to ask for something that I don't want to ask for, unemployment. But when I walked off that job, baby, I had tears in my eyes. I was trying to smile. I was going down that street. I was walking to my parents' house. I was like in tears. I was like, oh, no. The more my bills piled up on me, I didn't let that bother me. For some reason, I didn't even worry about that. Because, like I said again and again, after I said, Lord, it's in your hands. I'm putting it all at your footstep. And I left it right at Jesus' footstep. I left it right there. I didn't even try to touch it because I was always told by my parents, if you gonna try to fix it, it ain't no need of you trying to fix it. But once you take it to God and leave it at God's footstep, you let him do the rest. I know sometimes we want to fix it. It was always told to me, and I always instilled that in my head, like, okay, you know what? But I ain't gonna tell you that I wasn't trying to. I ain't gonna tell you that I wasn't trying to fix it, because I was trying to fix it. I was trying to fix it in every which way that I was. But after I said that, I was just like, okay, cool, come. So one day I told my baby brother they was hiring for the deliver phone books. And with me had the car. Now I know me and my sister, I drove my sister in the car. Now, honey, I knew how to drive, but I didn't know how to drive. I had forgot all about how to drive. So now I was driving when I was younger, but I was so nervous because of the car with the title. The lady walked in the restaurant talking about, you remember me? After I don't know how many years, and want to say something to me about that title. I just looked at her, like I said, after I had got that mechanic to get rid of that car, I ain't even worried about that car no more. So my my baby brother, when I had ended up calling him, and I asked him, you know, did he want to drive? I was asking him, did he want to drive to deliver phone books with me? He told me, how you get a job delivering phone books? Now, remind you, I had never had that job to deliver phone books. I just seen where they was hiring for delivering phone books. That was about a good, it's not 2 or 3 weeks later, but actually it was about a month or two later. So I was going through the daily newspaper, and that's when I decided to have the guts. Because everywhere else that I had called to, and this one particular job, I think it was Jet Pip, working at one of them 24-hour gas stations. I went in there to get the job. The lady didn't really hire nobody. She didn't hire nobody. She was somebody, they couldn't keep no manager or something. And so then all of a sudden she calls again. She calls me to come and go to work. That particular day, that manager from Jet Pip, they had I think they had the state or somebody coming in to do the health inspection. I think that's what they had coming to do the thing. So she hired me that one day. I walked off that. I had got the guts to know how to walk off a job then, because you ain't gonna talk to me no any kind of way. So when I started that job, my parents and them, they laughed at me, because honestly I had to call my parents, because my car didn't have no insurance on it, because I couldn't get no insurance on a car that I had not the one that I had bought before, but I couldn't get no insurance on a car that was so old. So I had to end up calling my parents to take me to work and to pick me up. I walked out. When I walked out from that job, my parents, they was like, wait a minute, how you get to work and get to, you go to work the same day in less than an hour? I'm calling them to tell them where to meet me at. Pick me up. So we all kind of like joke. I was like, one thing about it, I ain't finna let nobody talk to me any kind of way. I ain't finna let nobody tell me, because that job, that lady was in there talking about, when she said, get down on the floor and scrub the floors, and to hurry up when she said that, and do it now because we got somebody, and I just started. And then when she said to get in that cooler, I left and told her what she can do with that job. And I meant what I said. No, you won't do stuff like that, but I'm just going to tell you what I did. You ain't going to talk to me no any kind of way. Now, I ain't saying for y'all to do this, but I'm just saying some jobs will think that you don't know no better. So I got back home. That's when I finally toughed up my nerves to call that, what was it? I think it was Bell South, which is like formerly AT&T, I think it is now. Well, it was singular back then, but Bell South. I finally toughed my nerves up to call that phone book company and for the job. Well, little do I know, baby, won't God do it? I didn't expect it. The lady that answered the phone, and as a matter of fact, the lady name was Gwen. The same thing. I ain't talking about the Gwen that we be talking about on here. The lady said, can you come in for an interview? She had asked me about why did I want to deliver the phone books. I'm thinking I'm finna go in there to pick up my routes and everything. I'm thinking when she said come in for an interview, I gets in there. Once I gets in there, she said, the reason that I asked you to come in, she said, you know, everybody that come and pick up routes, they get the routes anyway. She said, but your voice over the phone, she said, I wanted you to come in because I want to know what you be willing to. I got a job opening for you. She said, you don't have to go nowhere. I'm looking at her like, ma'am. She said, you don't have to go nowhere. She said, the job that I got opening for you, it's all you have to do is when the people call in their routes, you just take their routes or you just assign them different routes, whatever route they want. She said, because the reason I called you in is because of your voice over the telephone. She said, you had good communication skills. I'm looking at her like, communication skill, you know, because at that time I'm just like still focusing. I don't went back to thinking. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I don't went back to thinking in my head like, okay, I know I did for that God footstep, but how I'm gonna make it? I'm gonna make it. I don't went back. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I went back to that. Okay. Then I seen apartments across the street, and I was like, oh, damn, the apartments that I wanted to get in. This right here. But I wasn't at them apartments. I was around the corner from the apartments. And I was like, oh, this is right here. I get a chance to go look at this. I get a chance to go look at these apartments. I get a chance to go look. And so if I was getting all, I'm talking about when I tell you I was getting all excited. But when she said that the job, she said, well, let me tell you. She said, the job, she said, I got your W-2s. This lady don't prepare W-2s and everything else. I didn't know. And she said, all I need you to do is sign right here, sign right here. She said, we pay $9.50. No, wait a minute. It was $8.50. Hold up, $8.50. She said, we pay $8.50 an hour. She said, can you be here at 7 o'clock in the morning? And she said, you will have 2 breaks. She said, you'll have a 15-minute break. And she said, you'll have a 10-minute break. And she said, you'll have an hour break. And she said, and I need you to come back tomorrow evening from 4 to 9. Y'all, I promise you, you know how sometimes you just want to be able, you know how sometimes you just want to do your praise dance right then and there, because the job was paying $8.50 an hour versus to what I was making at that restaurant. And the only thing I was going to be doing was sitting on my behind. And I was just like, okay, I was going to be sitting on my behind or either. And then she said, well, how good are you with typing? Now, you know, I did business education and I always type, but I can't type all that little, you know, fast typing and all that kind of stuff like that. So I was like, well, maybe 10 words an hour. 10 words, what they call it, MP something. But then, y'all, I don't forgot. Because I promise you, I want to do my praise dance right then and there. But I'm trying to hold it. I'm trying to hold it in myself like, oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I'm just trying to hold it in instead of trying to let her see and everybody else see. I'm trying my best to hold it. So when she told me the description and she told me about the training that I was going to have to go through and everything, she told me about the orientation. I wish the orientation was number 1 day. Just one day. Okay. You know, I'm cool, calm, and collected. But then when she said be here at 7 o'clock that next morning, like, okay, 7 o'clock that next morning. Like, okay, well, I can get up and come around that corner, because I was like, okay, well, you know, I was like, okay, Lord, you know what? I ain't got no insurance on this car. Because, you know, it wasn't, like I said, it was an older car. And I was like, well, this job ain't nowhere but right around the corner for me. So, yeah, I can make it. I can make it. I was like, okay, I can make it. So my friend had to be at work. And we didn't work that far from each other when he finally got a job. But the other job that he had finally got was working in was working in the warehouse, like a furniture store. I was so excited. When I tell y'all that I was so freaking excited about that freaking job. I was like, Lord, you know what I'm saying to myself, y'all? Lord, you don't did it. Lord, you don't did it. Thank you, Jesus. Because this job actually paying me more. And then when she told me that I get paid once a week, ooh, baby, that even made it that much more better when she told me that. It's like once a week. But then the way that she hired me, that made it even that much more better. So when people start calling in for their routes, and people start calling in to do routes, and like I said, I had to do a whole lot of office stuff. The job wasn't hard. It was hard, like if people start turning their routes in, and then especially when people wanted to do route. So when she asked me, she said, you know what? She said, the reason I asked you about this, she said, because you don't, she said, you don't need to deliver for all books. And she was like, you wouldn't want to go out there doing all that. That's too much work and it don't pay you that much. So I was just like, okay, all right. Now, you know what? Maybe, you know, this is what God's saying. That's why I said sometimes when you can walk away. You know, I know it seems like it's hard for us to walk away from a lot, you know. Sometimes it seems like it's hard for us to walk away. And I'm not going to lie. I was excited. I was happy. I was praising God at the same time. And the job lasted until they ended it. And then when they started the job back up, she did let me know that it was like a temporary job and how many months that they was going to be there, but they was trying to be there. So if y'all know about the phone books, how the phone book stuff go, y'all know how they go. So she did let me know how they was going to do. But I wasn't even worried about, I was not even worried about anything because my thing was, I had got a bill from the school saying that I owed the school. I think I had owed the school $411 or something. I had already was able to pay that back to the school that I was going to, like the college. I had got that from where I had, you know, remember I said about the scholarship. And then when I got the financial aid and all that, the financial aid didn't pay for, I had to, like when I had got the loan, I had to end up paying it. But so I was just so excited about that. And then I was excited about that I was able to finally get me some insurance on the car. So I won't be trying to drive and pull over to the side of the road where the police would catch me. I was excited about that because my parents was like, no. So actually, you know, because when I tell y'all, I was getting in that car, I was like, Lord, you know what? Just guide me. Lord, don't let me go no further than the working back. Jesus, just don't let me go no further than the working back. Lord, just don't let me. I promise you now. And when I got in that car, when I tell y'all, before I got in that car, I would always keep me a scripture in that car. Because y'all know how crazy drivers is. And I would be like, Lord, you know, just cover me. Because I ain't want nobody to hit me. And then I ain't want nobody to run me off the road knowing that I was taking a chance. And I ain't, especially, you know what, I was worried about myself and then I worried about others. And I ain't want nothing to happen to me where I will